All right, thank you to the Society for Creative Anachronisms. Give them a round of applause, everybody. Now, real quick here, before we get back to the action, we do have the winners for our merch raffle to announce. So please take out your ticket stubs and get these numbers ready. First winner is 1633. That is number 1633. So if your ticket says 1633, go on down to the merch table. You are a winner. Our second winner for this half is 1068. That is 1068. So again, ticket numbers 1633 and 1068. Head on down to the merch table to claim your prize.
And right next to the merch table, SCA does have a table there. That's the Society for Creative Anachronism that we just saw at the halftime there. They have a table set up, so feel free to head on over, check things out, and ask them any questions that you might have.
Looking back to the action here, we have all of our both of our teams lined up on the Plan B jammer line. Looks like we're going to have Magic Missile jamming for the Unholy Rollers. Jamming against her for the Vaudeville Vixens will be Jocelyn Hell Burnell. Just as a reminder for anybody who may have just joined us or is, maybe have forgotten, we are currently sitting at a score of Unholy Rollers 111, Vaudeville Vixens 86. All right, the jam begins.
Magic Missile fighting up against Montana Slamma, Mustang, and Smartash, taking her back and recycling her to the back of the pack. Jocelyn Hell Burnell trying to fight up against the pack of Micro Mauler, I Am Spazicus, Scarlet Osneria, and Fang Dangles.
And while it looks like Magic Missile may have gotten out of the pack first, I believe she was knocked out of bounds and then didn't return in behind the person that knocked her out. But since she wouldn't have passed anyone, the ruling that was called was no pass, no penalty.
So Jocelyn Hell Burnell is determined to be lead jammer. She calls that jam off, but it looks like the Unholy Rollers jammer, Magic Missile there, scored 3 points for the Unholy Rollers before the fourth whistle was blown. So bringing the Unholy Rollers to 114 points, the Vaudeville Vixens to 86 points.
I'd like to take a minute to give a shout out to one of our sponsors. Shout out to AmeriPrint Apparel, custom screen printing and embroidery, located in Sun Prairie. That is AmeriPrint Apparel. Getting back at the action here, we have Splatter Alice jamming for the Unholy Rollers and Berserk Lee jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens. Looks like Splatter Alice has broken out front to take lead jam for the Unholy Rollers.
Berserk Lee still fighting up against the Unholy Rollers blockers. Dive Hard, number 22, Tango de Muerte. And Molotov there. Splatter Alice getting around for a Minnie Madison Grand Slam and 5 points for the Unholy Rollers.
Yeah, it looks like in the meantime, Berserk Lee has broken free of the pack and is on her way to making her scoring pass.
Splatter Alice calling the jam and scoring 4 points for the Unholy Rollers.
All right, let's see. I believe that brings our score to Unholy Rollers 123, Vaudeville Vixens 86, with about 27 and a half minutes left in the half. Let's see here, lining up on the Plan B jammer line, we have Dalek Doll jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens up against Gertrude Awakening for the Unholy Rollers.
The whistle blows and Gertrude Awakening fights up against Harleyson and Mustang, breaking them up. She becomes lead jammer, but Dalek Doll following close behind.
Yeah, Dalek Doll snuck through the pack really quickly around the inside and is going to be hot on the heels of Gertrude Awakening, causing Gertrude Awakening to call off the jam as soon as she gets into the pack. No points scored by either jammer that pass.
That's right. That gives me a little chance here to thank another one of our sponsors, Cool Entertainment. If you ever want a DJ, lighting, or a badass mixtape, just search Cool Entertainment. That's KUHL Entertainment.com. This evening's outstanding music is provided by Tony with Cool Entertainment.
All right, getting back to the action here, we have Fang Dangle jamming for the Unholy Rollers. Looks like she has taken lead jam for her team. However, she is followed closely by, looks like...
Kenna Vendetta of the Vaudeville Vixens, jamming for Pink and Brown. Fang Dangled getting knocked to the outside of the track. She calls off the jam, scores a couple points for the Unholy Rollers, but calls it before the Vaudeville Vixens can score any points. Lots of fast action jams here tonight.
Oh, definitely. And this seems like it seems like the Unholy's game plan here is a bit of a war of attrition. They're just going to get in there and hit it and quit it. Get in there, get their points, call off the jam before the opposing team can get any points.
And we've got, I think, Gertrude Awakening scoring 33 points for the Unholy. Splatter Alice with 41 so far, and Fang Dangled and the Manipulator following, as well as Magic Missile with 17 points. So,
speaking of Magic Missile, she is taking lead jam for the Unholy Rollers this jam.
She's up against Jocelyn Hell-Burnell, who is still on her initial pass through the pack.
Yeah, it looks like Magic Missile is going to sneak around the inside, picking up a Mini of Madison Grand Slam and 5 points for the Unholy Rollers. It looks like Jocelyn Hell-Burnell is still stuck fighting against the Unholy's defense in the front of the pack there. As Magic Missile comes around the outside, picks up another 5 points and a Mini of Madison Grand Slam and calls off the jam.
I think she faked to the inside, went outside, and you couldn't even tell whether she was going one way or another.
Some of these jammers are so
agility
fast.
Work by Missile there.
Yeah.
And we got Kenna Vendetta up on the jammer line, the Plan B jammer line for the Vaudeville Vixens. She'll be jamming against Splatter Alice for the Unholy Rollers.
All right, looks like the jam begins. All right, looks like Splatter Alice is taking lead jam for the Unholy Rollers. Looks like Kenna Vendetta has finally broken free of the pack herself and is going to work on making her scoring pass. However, it looks like Splatter Alice is going to call off the jam after picking up 4 points on that pass. So that's going to be 0 points for the Vixens on that last jam. I believe that brings our score to Unholy Rollers 139, Vaudeville Vixens 86.
And we've still got over 23 minutes in this second period. Dalek Doll up on the jammer line for the Vaudeville Vixens. Look like she's the high scorer in this bout so far tonight for the Vaudeville Vixens. Her and Nefarious scoring the majority of the points for the Vixens. She's up jamming against Gertrude Awakening, who has scored 33 points for the Unholy Rollers tonight. Gertrude Awakening kept behind Stank Girl the Stench Wench and Happy Go Lucky from the Vaudeville Vixens. They're packing up with Harley Sin and Smart Ash to keep her behind as Dalek Doll is called as lead jammer. She gets around the pack and scores another Mini of Madison Grand Slam and 5 points for the Vaudeville Vixens. Getting through again there. Oh, knocked to the outside by, knocked to the outside, it looked like by Micro Mauler. Micro Mauler called to the box, so Dalek Doll does not need to recycle all the way back around to the back of the pack.
Looks like
action. Looks like that jam was
jam went down. Looks like that ended with 5 more points for the Vixens, 0 points up for the Unholies. That does bring our score up to Unholy Rollers 139, Vaudeville Vixens 96, with 22 minutes remaining in the half. Would like to take a moment to give another shout out to one of our sponsors. Shout out to Anthology, a shop in downtown Madison featuring over 100 local and indie artists. We dig crafty chicks.
And on the Plan B jammer line, we've got Tango de Muerte jamming for the Unholy Rollers up against Berserkly jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens.
It looks like Berserkly is taking lead jam for the Vixens.
Tango de Muerte fighting against the Unholy Rollers up front. A magnitude 10. Jean Snark and Shantastic McAwesome. She gets by with the help of some of her unholy friends. She's not lead jam. Berserkly trying to call off the jam, but she was called out on a penalty.
And it looks like she is going to have to skate all the way around the track to get back to the penalty box, since she was past that jammer line when she got called on her penalty. So this is going to be a power jam for Tango de Muerte and the Unholy Rollers.
That'll be a power jam. Well, Berserkly sits in the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box, but it looks like Tango de Muerte was just called on a track cut to join Berserkly there at that Monkey Bar Gym penalty box.
Yes, indeed. And since we do not want a jammerless jam, that does let Berserkly out of the penalty box.
The pack has stopped moving, waiting for that jammer to approach, and now it looks like the Vixens send up Jean Snark to play a little bit of offense. Now Berserkly fighting against the Unholy Rollers, wall of handcuffs, micro mauler, dive hard, and molly top. Working to recycle her to the back of the pack. Tango de Muerte back in from the penalty box. And the Vixens changed to defense, fighting against her, keeping a wall in front.
Looks like Berserkly has gotten through. Yep, she picked up a Minnie and Madison Grand Slam and 5 points for the Vaudeville Vixens.
Sorry, Tail was lagging on that one.
Just what the Vaudeville Vixens needed, bringing them up to 101. Unholy Rollers at 144. We still got 19 and a half minutes in this second period.
43 points in 19 minutes is well within reason. We have seen the score shift far more wildly than that in less time.
That's right. Who's here cheering on the Unholy Rollers tonight? Who wants to see those Unholy Rollers win? We got Splatter Alice jamming for the Unholy Rollers. If you're a Vaudeville Vixens fan, let's hear ya. Vaudeville Vixens, you've got Jocelyn Helbernell jamming. Both jammers neck and neck.
Very, very tight move on the inside circle by Jocelyn Helbernell, lifting up her inside skate to stay in bounds. Very nicely done. Jam is still going to be called off before either jammer picks up any points, though.
And that was a good play by Splatter Alice, calling off the jam before either team can score any points as long as her team is in the lead.
Yes, indeed.
She wants to do that, so Jocelyn Helbernell couldn't get any points there for the Vixens.
Looks like for this jam, we have Scarlett Osnaria up jamming for the Unholy Rollers, up against Kenna Vendetta for the Vaudeville Vixens.
Kenna Vendetta passing the star off. Looks to the pivot, Nefarious.
It's like in the meantime, Scarlett Osnaria has taken lead jam for the Unholy Rollers. However, Nefarious is hot on her heels.
And we've seen a couple WORT star passes tonight in the game. Looks like Scarlett Osnaria scores 1 point for the Unholy Rollers, calling that jam off quickly before the Vaudeville Vixens can score anything. And I don't even know if that jam lasted 30 seconds.
That was a very quick jam. Maybe not quite as quick as the one prior to it, but still a very fast jam. So it looks like I'd like to give another shout out to one of our sponsors here, the Baldwin Street Grill. Baldwin Street Grill, Friday fish fry and brunch on the weekends. Thursday karaoke night is usually full of derby girls. It's Baldwin Street Grill.
And now back to those derby girls from the jammer line there. We had Gertrude Awakening of the Unholy Rollers up against Dalek Doll for the Vaudeville Vixens. Both jammers getting knocked to the outer inside lines and taken around to the back, and now both out of the pack with Gertrude Awakening of the Unholy Rollers as your lead jammer for this jam.
However, Dalek Doll is right there next to her, almost overtaking her as they approach the pack. That's going to cause Gertrude Awakening to call off the jam to prevent the Vixens from getting any more points. They are definitely trying to prevent them from putting any more points up on the board. Maintain that score break.
That's a 0-0 jam. No points scored for either team.
I'd like to read out one of our shout-outs here. Kayla, daughter of Unholy Rollers, Bada Boom Box. So, shout out to you, Kayla. Getting back to the action here. We have Shantastic McAwesome jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens, having just taken lead jam. She's jamming up against Magic Missile for the Unholy Rollers.
Magic Missile getting through the pack. But after Shantastic McAwesome finds her way past, she gets through the pack of Unholy Rollers, scores 4 points, and calls that jam off, bringing the Vaudeville Vixens up to 105, Unholy Rollers 145. Another shout out to one of our sponsors. Shout out to our sponsor, the High Noon Saloon, voted Madison's favorite live music venue and Madison's favorite place for karaoke. High Noon Saloon.
Getting back to the action here, we have Splatter Alice wearing the red and gold star for the Unholy Rollers, up against Jocelyn Hell Burnell wearing the pink and brown star for the Vaudeville Vixens. Looks like Splatter Alice has taken lead jam for the Unholy Rollers. Jocelyn Hell Burnell still working up against the wall of gold within the pack.
And the Vaudeville Vixens trying to keep Splatter Alice held back. It looks like Splatter Alice is called off the track for a cutting penalty. She'll be headed to the penalty box. That's the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Hell Burnell with a power jam for the Vaudeville Vixens slides into the back of the pack there, but she's called to the back of the, or she's called to the penalty box for one of these things. I think a back block or a little, maybe a slide in to the other players. Anyway, for a penalty, that releases Splatter Alice from the penalty box. She'll be jamming for the Unholy Rollers, fighting against those Vaudeville Vixens.
Yeah, looks like she's the last bastion of defense for the pack there was Stank Girl the Stench Wench. Splatter Alice has made it past her, going to work on making her next pass. However, Jocelyn Hell Burnell has been released from the penalty box and is working on scoring some points herself. She does get through the pack, picking up 5 points in a Mini of Madison Grand Slam.
Splatter Alice fighting her way through the pack there, getting 4 points for the Unholy Rollers after she passes by the Vaudeville Vixens defense.
And just as a reminder here, just since Jocelyn Hell Burnell did go to the penalty box as the lead jammer, that means that we currently do not have a lead jammer. So no one can call this jam off. It will end when the jam timer ends right now. What timing? That was amazing. It's almost like I did it on purpose.
Almost. And it looks like we got additional points for both teams there, bringing the Unholy Rollers up to 159. The Vaudeville Vixens at 114. Here with about 13 and a half minutes in the second period.
Take a moment to give another quick shout out to one of our sponsors, the Chocolatarian Cafe, down at 2004 Atwood Avenue, serving outstanding chocolate as well as savory items. The perfect destination, Chocolatarian Cafe.
And now back on the track, we've got Gertrude Awakening jamming for the Unholy Rollers up against Nefarious for the Vaudeville Vixens.
Looks like Nefarious gonna break out first, taking lead jam for the Vaudeville Vixens.
Gertrude Awakening just trying to get hot on her trail. Skating as fast as she can to catch up to Nefarious. Nefarious gets through the pack, calls the jam off before either team can score any points.
Definitely a good call there by Nefarious, realizing that she was not going to be getting by that wall anytime soon, and there was a very good chance that the Unholies would put up some more points on the board by the end of the jam. Good call calling that off.
And we've got two of the Vaudeville Vixens in the penalty box, Jean Dusnark and Berserkly, in there, leaving only 2 blockers on the track for the Vixens, with Dalek Doll jamming. And it looks like jamming for the Unholy Rollers is Fang Dangled. Dalek Doll is...
Dalek Doll is the lead jammer for the Vaudeville Vixens. She's gone around, taking it on the... Ooh, almost getting through the pack
that pack first.
Almost made it around the outside. It looked like she was going on the inside, juked to the outside. Got caught by Unholy blockers there, called off the jam.
She calls it off while scoring 2 points before the Unholy Rollers can score any points, bringing the Vixens another 2 points closer to decreasing that lead that the Unholy Rollers have.
Like to take a moment to remind everybody to go on and stop by the Dairyland Dolls table by the entrance, or to meet up with any of the skaters dressed in Dairyland Dolls attire. Go ahead and buy some wheels for the wheel toss. It is $3 for one wheel, or two for $5. We'll be playing that shortly at the halftime here, so in about 11 minutes. If you want to get in on that wheel toss and support the Dairyland Dolls as they head down to Jacksonville, Florida next week, head over and buy some wheels.
And here we've got several Dairyland Dolls on both of these teams. We've got jamming for the Unholy Rollers, and lead jammer, Scarlett Osneria. She's jamming up against Shantastic McAwesome on the Vaudeville Vixens, who's still trying to get through the pack. Scarlett Osneria calls that jam off after scoring 4 points for the Unholy Rollers. Nice jam there, both teams. A lot of great defense as well as offense, stringing that pack off or out about, almost 3/4 of the way around the track.
Well, looking at this jam, we have Splatter Alice jamming for the Unholy Rollers up against Feminine Hijinks for the Vixens.
Feminine hijinks. Say that 5 times fast.
Oh, not on the mic, thank you.
Feminine hijinks trying to get her way around the outside, getting knocked down, while Splatter Alice, lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers. Splatter Alice around the track and coming back on her point scoring pass, facing a wall of Vaudeville Vixens.
Oh, looks like Splatter Alice is
She's
going to
around
just
the
barely
outside,
get by.
knocking her way.
Calling off the jam, picking up 4 points for the Unholy Rollers. That does bring Splatter Alice's point total for the game up to 63, which is the highest score for the Unholy Rollers so far.
Highest on both teams, actually.
Yeah.
It looks like she's close to Dalek Dolls scoring total points scored.
And at the start of that
Vaudeville
last bout,
Vixens.
they were actually neck and neck. Dalek Doll was at 56 points for the game, as was Splatter Alice. Getting back to the action, we have Gertrude Awakening jamming for the Unholy Rollers, taking lead jam.
She gets right through the middle there, gets lead jammer. Meanwhile, Berserkly jamming for the Vixens, still fighting to get past the Unholy Rollers, just getting by their last wall of red and gold there. Both jammers getting back around the track and through the pack. Gertrude Awakening calls that jam off after scoring 3 points right before Berserkly can score any for the Vixens.
Yeah, things are certainly getting down to the wire here. We've got the Unholy Rollers with a score of 170 against the Vaudeville Vixens 116 with just over 8 minutes left in the half.
The Vixens need to turn things around here by scoring some more points. Every team that wants to win one of these bouts does, but great action on both teams here tonight, both defensively and offensively, trying to help their blockers, trying to help their jammers through when they find themselves up in the front. We've got Montana Slamma. She's the lead jam for the Vaudeville Vixens, jamming up against Scarlett Osneria of the Unholy Rollers tonight.
Yeah, it looks like Scarlett Osneria still fighting against a wall of pink and brown back in the pack.
Montana Slamma getting up and around. She's knocked around by Molly Top, but stays in bounds, getting a Minia Madison grand slam for the Vaudeville Vixens. Another 5 points go up on the board for the Vixens.
Looks like Scarlett Osneria knocked out of bounds, going to come back in and pass the star over to Pivot Magic Missile.
So Magic Missile receives that WORT star pass. And in the meantime, Montana Slamma getting through the pack, scoring 4 points and calling the jam off. Another 4 points up on the board for the Vixens. That was a 9-point jam, bringing the Vixens to 125 against the Unholy Rollers, 170 points. Just what they needed, that jam. Both teams now on the jammer line, jamming for the Vixens. Shantastic McAwesome, Splatter Alice for the Unholy Rollers. Both teams have one blocker in the penalty box.
It's like Shantastic McAwesome almost making a round in the outside. Knocked back out of bounds, though. Oh, looks like Splatter Alice has taken lead jam for the Unholy Rollers. However, Shantastic McAwesome working, it's got some jammer on jammer action there. Both of them go down.
Shantastic McAwesome works on taking Splatter Alice down. They both turn around and fall. Splatter Alice calls that jam off. Nice dance moves out there, ladies. Looking good.
That was some very, very fun jammer action in that jam.
And Splatter Alice coming over to give Shantastic McAwesome a little hug on the sidelines. That's right. We all play together while we play against each other on different colored teams here tonight. We all practice together. We run this league together. We are a family, a community of roller derby. So we love one another and love skating against each other.
Indeed we do. Getting back to the action here, we have Harley Sin taking lead jam for the Vaudeville Vixens. However, she's skating neck and neck with Fang Dangled.
Fang Dangled knocking her to the outside a little bit. Jamming for the Unholy Rollers. Both jammers getting out of that pack. Both facing a little bit of difficulty in the pack, scoring points. Fang Dangled getting out, scoring some points, and Harley Sin calling that jam off after scoring a few points for the Vixens. It looks like 3 and 3 points for each team that jam.
Things really coming down to the wire here. We have the Vaudeville Vixens with a score of 128 behind the Unholy Rollers 173 with just under 5 minutes remaining in the half. I'd like to take a moment to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, Club Inferno, down at 1718 Commercial Avenue, Madison's hottest club. Getting back to the action here, we have Splatter Alice jamming for the Unholy Rollers up against Kenna Vendetta for the Vaudeville Vixens. Splatter Alice breaking through, taking lead jam for the Unholies. Looks like Kenna Vendetta just picked up a penalty. I believe that, yes, that was a track cut penalty, so she will be spending 30 seconds in the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box, letting this be a power jam for Splatter Alice and the Unholy Rollers.
And Splatter Alice taking a little advantage of that, scoring 5 points and a Minnie Madison Grand Slam for the Unholy Rollers. She calls that jam off, though, so that the Unholy Rollers get the chance to start with just their jammer on the jammer start line, that Plan B jammer start line.
That is true. Kenna Vendetta will be starting in the penalty box still. So that means Magic Missile jamming up for the Unholy Rollers will be starting in a power jam.
Whoa, those blockers moving up to the pivot line. I remember when they used to start at the pivot line.
What madness is this?
This is Magic Missile Madness, and she is the lead jam for this jam.
Looks like her Unholy teammates are going to try to slow down the pack a bit, give her a nice open berth to get in there and try to break past the defense, which she will do.
Oh, and she turns around a little do-si-do, a little triple sow cow or whatnot there. I'm not sure what the roller skating terms are for that, but she does a nice little turnaround, call off that jam.
Now that jam did end fast enough where Kenna Vendetta is still going to be in the penalty box for this next jam.
Giving the Unholy Rollers, again, advantage to get lead jam and score, and then call that jam off.
Looks like we're going to have Fang Dangle jamming for the Unholy Rollers.
She's got to go up against Slamma and Lemon Drop Kick, both giving her a little hard time there, but she gets through. Fang Dangle, lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers. Kenna Vendetta back in from the penalty box. She doesn't have the star on her helmet, though. It looks like she did attempt a star pass there to Whiskey and Choke, the pivot for the Vixens. But Fang Dangled around and through the pack, getting a Minnie Madison Grand Slam and calling the jam before the Vixens could get around and score any points.
Yes, indeed. Looks like lining up for this jam, we'll have Splatter Alice jamming for the Unholy Rollers up against Dalek Doll for the Vaudeville Vixens.
It should be an interesting jam. Both of these jammers, high point scorers for their respective teams in this bout. Dalek Dahl right to the inside, a little tiptoeing on that inside. Has to come around to the outside, fighting against Molly Tov. She's knocked around, and Splatter Alice is lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers.
Yeah, Dalek Dahl really going to town on those Unholy blockers, but just not quite getting what she needs to get that opening to get in front of them.
That's right, and those Unholy Rollers kind of going to town on her. But she takes it and goes back and forth. Unfortunately, Splatter Alice gets around, gets those points, and calls that jam off, bringing the Unholy Rollers had another 5 points in that jam. I'm sorry, I think 10 points.
I believe so. Our current score is Unholy Rollers 193, Vaudeville Vixens 128, with just under 40 seconds left in the half. See, for this jam, we have Scarlet O'Snaria jamming for the Unholy Rollers up against Shantastic McAwesome for the Vaudeville Vixens.
One big pack of blockers there. Shantastic McAwesome finds a hole on the inside line, and she's lead jammer for the Vaudeville Vixens.
Yep, Scarlet O'Snaria hot on her tail, though. Shantastic McAwesome going to sneak through the outside of the pack, calling things off. Looks like she only got 1 point there. We have 8 seconds left in this half, and a team timeout has been called by the Vaudeville Vixens. I'm going to take this opportunity to read another sponsorship read. Shout out to Hometown Pilates, fitness the way nature intended, corrective exercise for peak performance. Hometown Pilates.
We'd also like to thank another one of our sponsors, One Barrel Brewing Company, 2001 Atwood Avenue, beer that's handmade in small batches with love. One Barrel Brewing Company.
Would also like to remind you that we are selling shout outs over at the merch table. Pay $1. You can have that $1 go to our bout charity today, and then write anything that you would like to have it be read over the microphone, provided, of course, that it is PG-13 and legible.
Head on over to the merch table, get a shout out, and support tonight's bout charity, the Urban Tree Alliance. Their goal is to plant 600 trees in low-income and low-canopy neighborhoods within the Madison urban area by the fall of 2015. Tonight's portion of tickets, as well as the shout-out proceeds, go to support Urban Tree Alliance and their mission.
All right, looks like the timeout has ended. The final jam has begun. We've got Jocelyn Hell-Burnell out there jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens up against the Unholy Rollers' Fang Dangled. It's like Fang Dangled has taken the lead jam for this jam. However, she is closely followed by Jocelyn Hell-Burnell.
Jocelyn Hell-Burnell kind of doing a little turnaround there in the pack and getting through right after Fang Dangled makes her way through. Fang Dangled coming through the pack, calling the jam off, getting 4 points. Vixens scoring 3 points. And it looks like our unofficial final is going to have the Unholy Rollers winning this bout with 198 points against the Vaudeville Vixens scoring 132 points. A great game played by both of the teams. But let's hear it for the Unholy Rollers, winners of tonight's bout.
Yeah, everybody, so let's give a cheer for both of these teams. Looks like the final score is official. Unholy Rollers take the bout with 198 points to the Vaudeville Vixens 132.
Unholy Rollers, strong defense tonight, as well as offense. Vixens just battling them, you know, jam by jam, too.
Very tenaciously.
Both teams playing really great. High scores tonight for the Vixens, Dalek Dahl, as well as Nefarious, scoring 59 points for Dalek Dahl and 31 for Nefarious. High scoring point tonight for the Unholy Rollers. We had Fang Dangled with 29 points, Magic Missile with 32 points, Gertrude Awakening 36 points, and Splatter Alice with 73 points. Great job out there, supported by a lot of their blockers as well. Please, thank you, Jocelyn Halbernal. Please check out these, both of these teams in the fan zone over by the merchandise tables where you came in tonight.